So across the yeah, so what we see is that we have a very viable strategy of promoting Panchakarma or realizing Panchakarma in a supportive, preparatory, and curative as well as restorative domain for a very particular reason. Is that in case of depleting the increased dosha or increasing the decreased dosha or maintaining normalcy, Panchakarma has come out as a very effective strategy. It is an undeniable prerequisite for Rasayana administration by virtue of Agnidipana and Srodoshodhana. Now, since it aims at to destroy the disease from the root cause, it is considered as a radical measure. Now, it bestows disease pacification coupled with Bala and Varna restoration. Now, that is a landmark quality of a phenomenon. Now, Panchakarma interestingly augments Swastavrita in prevention, maintenance, and conservation of health. It is a treatment par excellence for both Vegadharana and Mandagni, both of which have a lion's share in disease causation. Now, consider a condition when a person is having a distorted or disturbed homeostasis. So, viably, we have an impaired metabolism, that is, impaired anabolism, catabolism, plus deformed nutrition, deficient immunity, which and we will be having a hampered waste excretion. So, what happens then? Then we will find that there will be an accumulation of the metabolic waste, which will be leading to free radical formation and tissue damage. So, end point would be we are with a metabolic disorder. And what to do with a metabolic disorder? We need to have a cleansing of the metabolic pathways, and that is done by Panchakarma. Panchakarma is also very effective in the immediate and chronic system policy. It has a quality of reverting the biological system back to normalcy, and then it lays down a very foundation or a background for the rejuvenation process. Now, coming to the diet scenario, we all know that the nutritional status of an individual is a genuine indicator of a resilience against destabilization. So, no wonder that the Ayurvedic health concepts are always intending towards health promotion and disease prevention. By balancing a diet to maintain a homeostasis of the body, this is the base of Ayurvedic prophylactic, preventive, and clinical nutrition. We are very well aware of the topic that if a wholesome diet is given in a plant way, there is actually less chance for a medicinal treatment. But consider a condition when you allow an unwholesome diet to be permitted, even when the treatment is carried on. Well, then we can be almost be assured that the treatment's impact is going to be questionable. So when we are talking about wholesomeness, now what's wholesomeness? Wholesomeness encompasses the concept of pathyam, that is conduciveness. Conduciveness, in a sense, it is congealed to the body tissues, it is relished by the person, it maintains the health and homeostasis of the body, it is beneficial for the body, mind, and intellect simultaneously. It enhances strength and prevents disease. Now, this is a Pandora of effect that we are trying to aim through our dietetic protocol. In Panchakarma 2, the diet guidelines are sketched a framework. Before doing the actual Panchakarma, we have a session of Pura Karma where we have a Deepana, which will actually ignite the Agni, Pajana of Ama, Snehana, both internal and external oilation, and Svedana for sudation, followed by the Pradhana Karma of Vamana, Virechana, Basti, Nasya, and Raktamoksha. After the Panchakarma is accomplished, as we see, the Agni and the strength of the body will be depleted. So we will have a regimen and a behavior restriction which will try to bring back the Agni and will try to replenish the body's weakness, will try to make the body stronger as before. Now, we can also see that this dietic protocol for Panchakarma is in alliance with the Rutucharya. And the Ritucharyas themselves have a share of their Panchakarma. Okay, now this is a beautiful example where we find that the Ayurvedic fundamental principles are linked from the gross level to the subtle level. There is a link between the theory and the practical. This link is found throughout, from Swastavrata to Kaya Chikitsa, anywhere and everywhere. We will see that the basic principles are linked. Okay. Now let us see in a nutshell how our Panchakarma processes work out. Now, we all know that carbohydrate metabolism is the preferred or the convenient mainstay of energy requirement. The body loves to manage the carbohydrate metabolism. But if a body is diseased, there is a deliberate need to clean the metabolic pathway. Okay, so during Snehabana, the body has to face a forced moderate glucose deprivation, which the body is not very fond of, but it works to repair the pathways, and the system is loaded with fat. Okay, that is also very unnatural to the body, and there is a deliberate attempt to mend the physiology in a controlled manner. Okay, now because we want to remove the waste from the body, sneha is used because the waste are dissolved into the sneha. That is, it is melted, it is increased by the temperature, and it is brought out to the koshta, and then the waste products are then migrated to the earliest exit point. This is how the Sneha Sweda is going to work by taking away the melted dosha. Now, fat and water soluble, that is Utklishta and Vilayida dosha, are directed to the koshta by the heat of the Svedana externally. Now, once this waste are removed, that is a panchakarma, clears the metabolic pathways by the eliminative procedures, we have the samsarjana kriya, which will provide the glucose-rich diet and then will reinstall the carbohydrate metabolism. So we see that the carbohydrate metabolism, which was kept aside for a particular therapeutic cause, is now reinstalled by the samsarjana. This is the dietic procedure. Now, ahara has a main role or a criteria of consideration before Panchakarma administration, the others being dosha, deshaja, desha, kala, bala, sharira, saknya, sattva, prakriti, and vayaha. In the context of ahara, Agni assessment is also very important. Now, Agni is assessed in terms of Jarana Shakti and Abhyavarna Shakti. Jarana Shakti or the digestive capacity is actually accounted by the Jirna Ahara Lakshana, that is the features of proper digestion, such as enthusiasm, lightness of the body, clear bletching, appearance of genuine hunger and thirst, proper evacuation of excreta, etc. Now, it is scored at a regular meal time by taking into account a person who is taking a required normal quantity of food. Now, this has been taken by a study of Varsha et al. Jamnagar, and Abhyavarna Shakti is the capacity to take food. Now, this is very related to the quantity and quality of the food, so it varies from person to person. Now, both Jarana Shakti and Abhyarana Shakti have to be taken into account while we assess Agni for planning the Samsarjana. Now, in the Purva Karma, the concept of Deepana and Pajana are of great importance. Now, what does Deepana do? Deepana will kindle the digestion, but that means it ignites the digestion, but there is no Ama Pajana involved. Owing to the Agni and Vayu Mahabhuta, there is an increase in appetite, that is, Abhyavana Shakti is increased, it works more on empty stomach. There is a separation of the dosha from the dhatu. What about the Pajana property? Pajana property tries to digest the ama, but it does not increase Agni. It converts Sa ama avastha into Nirama avastha. So they actually work together, Deepana and Pajana in the Purva Karma stage. So the food items and drugs which are having Deepana and Pajana property have to be imbibed within this particular phase. In this whole spectrum, we have to visualize the stimulation of vagus, glossopharyngeal nerve, the fundus, the pylorus, duodenum. We have to visualize that there is an increase in the digestive enzymes, secretion of bile, and pancreatic juice during this particular procedure. Now, coming down to this entire session, what we are going to do, we are going to understand, we are going to find out the food intake behavior, hunger, thirst that has been talked about in the session of Panchakarma. Now, Ayurveda gives maximum attributes to the importance of sneha, both as food and medicine. It is considered essential for body existence. The body is sneha saroayam purusha. Body is rich in fat. Why? Because the snigdha guna is projected by the dhatu, rasa, rekta, mamsa, meda, majja, shukra, the ubadhatu, vasa, stanya, ojas, and the mala, purisha, mutra, and sweda. No biochemical reaction or cell function in the body is possible in the absence of fat. Fat imparts stability and strength to the body. In fact, the two dhatu, namely medas and majja, are basically fat based. There are many fat soluble vitamins, and the biochemical reactions are mediated by fat. Nevertheless, the function of the nervous system is based on the lipid medium. Now, sneha with food makes the agni stable. This is a concept. And based on the origin, Sneha is divided into Stavara and Jangama, and the Jangama again incorporates natural and artificial sources. Among the four Sneha, namely Krida, Taila, Vasa, and Majja, Krida is considered as the best due to the property of refinement, and it is the easiest in digestion. Based on dosha mitigation, Krida will mitigate Vata and Pitta, Majja and Vasa will mitigate Vata, and Thailam will mitigate Vata and Kapha. Now we are going to see how it is connected, our food hunger and diet pattern. The dose of Snehapana is fixed qualitatively depending upon the food habits and the digestive ability. Okay, we have a condition of increased chronic vitiation of dosha which demands a total purification. Okay, we will have to give a Uttama Matra Snehapana meant for Shodhana when without food, as soon as the food is taken on the previous days digested and when the person is not changes, we have a condition when we intend to do Shamana Sneha. Then we have to administer the Sneha in a Madhyama Matra during the mealtime on empty stomach and when the person is hungry. Brahmana Snehapana, here the Sneha is consumed along with food in a small quantity, that is in sub minimum dose. The purpose here is weight gain treatment, nutrition enhancement, and general health promotion. It is given in the medium of meat, soup, etc. It is ideal for children and aged population, those who are suffering from thirst, who have a viable aversion to fat, who have a daily indulgence in sexual activity and fatty food, who have a poor digestive ability, who are accustomed to a cozy, comfortable life, who are afraid of hardships, who are mridukoshta, who are emaciated, and it is a case of alpadosha and it is a hot season. Now, Sushruta says that a sneha which is digested in one yama, that is 3 hours, is indicated for alpadosha and the impact obtained is divana. The time component, that is when the sneha is given in the Kshutakala, that is a person is hungry, what will happen? The Agni will digest the sneha, so it becomes Shamana. In the Ashuddha Kala, that is it is given in empty stomach when the person is not feeling hungry, the Agni is not going to digest the entire sneha, it will become dosha utklesha. Outer bhaktiga sneha, that is a sneha is given after meal for Utha Jatru Vigare Rogas. Avapidaka sneha is given in the middle of the meal. Now, Vriddha Vagbada gives a very interesting phenomenon that small quantity of sneha can be given before food and large quantity given after digestion. This is indicated in Vadavyadhi, Mutra Vega Dharanejanya Roga, and Arshas. Here, Krita is actually preferred over Thaila. Now, the conditions we give small amount of Sneha before food. What does it do? It is helpful in management of diseases affecting the lower part of the body and it strengthens the lower part of the body during the food intake. That is, when the sneha is given with the food intake, it helps in curing diseases of the middle part of the body. And when it is given after food, it helps in management of upper part of the body and it will augment and fortify the organs of the particular part of the body. Now, based on Prayoga Bheda, we can classify Sneha into Acha and Vicharana. I will be dealing with Vicharana here. That is, food is our concern here. Vicharana Snehapana is the administration of Sneha intake along with food and also with other modes. We will be talking about food here after considering Sapnya and Dosha. When Vicharana Sneha, that is Sneha is taken with food, we have to consider the forms, food forms such as Odana, Vilepi, Yavagu, Bhakshyam, Bhojyam, Peyam, and Lehyam are the forms of the food, and the different preparations of food need to be considered here. and 64 rasa combinations have to be accounted. So these things have to be in our mind when we think that when we are giving food with sneha, this many permutations and combinations are possible. It is indicated for Sukumara, it is meant for Prisha, Vritta, Shishu, Snehadveshi, Madhyanitya, Snehanitya, Mridu, Koshta, Trishnartha, and Ushnakala. The same that we have discussed. Now, what is the outcome expected? It is Dhatu Brahmana by Brahmana Sneha and Dosha Utklesha via Sadhya Sneha. Now, Pipali, Saindava, Ghee, Tilapishta, Varahavasa, cow, cow's milk poured into a vessel containing ghee and sugar. This is specially indicated for Ruksha persons. Pipali, Saindava, the four Sneha, and Dadimastu. Snigdha Yavagu and fried mamsa. Yavagu of rice cooked in milk added with ghee. Mamsa rasa by boiling large amount of meat. Payasa prepared with masha and fatty substances. Fresh milk with ghee and sugar. In our common practice, especially in our part, what we see is we prepare more of mamsarasa with meat, and payasa is also practiced, and dukkha with ghee and sugar. Satyasnoha is actually a component of Vijarana Seha when we want to achieve Snehana in a very short duration, and that too instantaneously. We have soup prepared from a large quantity of meat, gruel fried with more quantity of fat, powdered sesame seeds with molasses and fat, krisara, which is used, rice cooked with green gram mixed with fat, Kshirapeya, that is gruel prepared with milk and mixed with more quantity of ghee, and which is served warm. This have to be warm. Yogurt water, cream of curd mixed with guda, which we have not seen actually. Panchaprasiddha Peya is practiced. Thin gruel prepared from each of the four sneha and the rice. This is also indicated for the children and the aged population who are unable to bear the discomfort or the avoidance of the snehana therapy. It brings about immediate oilation and lubrication, and it is devoid of side effects. Mamsarasa of Varaha, Kukkuda, Go, Aja, and Matsya can be used. The drug required to be mixed up are Yava, Kola, Kulatha, Dadima, Dahi, Shundi, Pipali, Maricha. We have a wide spectrum of substances we can actually add on with. Krisara with sufficient Sneha. Now, there is a very obvious reason why Sneha is added along with salt, because it brings about an immediate lubrication. It is abhishanti, it causes exudation in the tissues. However, it is aruksha, does not cause much of dryness. It is sushma, capable of entering into minute pores. Ushna, hot in potency. Vyavai, it spreads all over the body first and later undergoes transformation. However, Sushuda warns about the excessive use of Lavanarasa. Now, people who are subjected to or are suffering from skin diseases, inflammatory conditions such as Shobha and diabetes, that is Prameha, we cannot use jaggery and meat of birds of marshy land, milk, sesame seeds, and black gram, suradadi, etc. for oilation, for sadhyasnehana. The reason being, the property of utklesha and kaphavriddhi will prove to be disastrous in this situation. They will worsen the disease condition. Here we have an option of doing the boiling the sneha with triphala, pipali, and pathya. This will not bring about the abnormalities. They will pacify kapha, and most importantly, they are not secretory in nature. Now, diet which is meant for sneha consumption, the person who is going to be subjected to snehavana the next day, who is undergoing right now and who has just completed, they will have to go through a diet which is dravam and ushnam, not producing excess moisture, not neither abhishanti. Now, Ushna Ahara here means both as Ushna Virya and Agni Samyoga. This will help in digestion, increases Agni, Vata Anulomana, and mitigate Kapha. It has to be anabhishanti, but not very snigdha and not too ruksha. It should be non-heterogeneous. That is asankara. It should not be a mixture of too many things. It should complicate the digestion. It should be consumed by the patient in a very limited quantity. Now, this regimen is the same for all purification therapies and those debilitated by diseases. The Sneha Upachara, after Pana, that is drinking only of the Sneha, warm water is to be drunk in very small quantities, sipping off, not a bulk of it, which will help in digestion, clearing the mouth coating. With an exception of Tuvaraga Taila and Anushkara Taila, which is hot in nature, so cold water has to be taken in. For Taila, it is Yusha, and Vasa and Majja, the Anupana is Manda. Now, doubtful digestion of Sneha. The event when we are doubtful of the digestion, the remedy is to sip in warm water in small quantities regularly. Purification, clear belching, a feeling of lightness in the body, and desire for food. Now, these are the features by which we know that the ghee ingested has been digested. Okay. Now, the Sneha Vyabat, does food have a role in that? Yes, it does. Indulging in improper food is one of the cause of Sneha Vyabat. Adhirna will develop warm food regimen after Snehana and it will lead to Vishtamba. This is considered as a Ashu Chikitsa Vyabat, which needs immediate management. Vamana is done actually. Atisnikta Lakshana comprises of Bhakta Dvesha and Aruji. Asigna Lakshana has Agni Mantya and Avipaga as a manifestation. Now, in case of Sneha Vyabat Chikitsa, does food and patterns have an influence? They do. Hunger, thirst is one modification that we can do. Food and drinks, which cause Rukshada, that is Takrarishta, Yava, Shamaga, Pipali, Triphala, Shaudra. After Triphala, again Patya has been reinforced. The anticipated phenomenon is hyper or hypoglycemia and acidosis. Takra is a food material of choice. We can actually attribute it to the lactic fermentation in the gut. A lot of studies are being going on regarding the gut health and Panchagara is a big area where we can actually expand. Okay, now persons who are obese, having a kapha imbalance and an erratic type of digestive activity, they're accustomed to that, but they need a snehana therapy. So what to do first? We have to first do rukshana by means of food and drugs which are rukshana. Again, here we can use yava, administered, then snehana, then followed by purification therapy. So the once we have done rukshana, we can be sure that rukshana by terms of food and drugs as well, we can be sure that the complication of snehana does not arise. Now, is there a relationship between food and this Vedana process? Yeah. People who are prescribed as unsuitable for this Vedana karma, such as people who are having the ama condition, who are chronic alcoholics, who have just consumed milk and curd and fat, who are having thirst and who are hungry, they are not suitable. Now, suppose Vedana is in a proper way, by virtue of the Ushna and Krishna properties, it will aid in digestion of ama. There is a stimulation of the 13 Agni. As a result, Bhakta Shraddha, that is increase in appetite by Stroha Shraddha and Amapachana is the desired effect. Now, Kaya Seka. In the event of pouring the drava too rapidly from an improper height and prolonged duration, the anticipated outcome is burning sensation, fatigue, vomiting, hoarseness of the voice. So, the remedial measure on the first day is Nasya Gandusha, concentrated decoction of dried ginger. The same evening, the light meal of boiled rice with curry of moderate quantity pepper. I have only included the parts of where food and food patterns, hunger, appetite, etc. have peaked. Now, Vamana. The diet, the day previous to the Vamana is a very important day. Aggravating kapha is our duty. So, how do we do that? We have to provide fish, masha, tila, dahi vada, jalebi, payasa. These are the available. Masha, khichdi with masha and shali, and put generously add ghee, tila laddu. It's one of the delightful days of patience. Chicken soup with ghee, srikhanda, milk peda, meat of grami and anupa, and milk products. We have always seen when in our UG times, patients are jubilated on the day before Vamana, and on the day of Vamana, they come to know that this was something different. Okay. On the day of Vamana, make sure that the patient's previous day food has been digested and he has slept well. It should be maintained on empty stomach or a little quantity of gruel with ghee is given. For For aged and child population, like debilitated people who are not in a position, who are weak by nature, they can drink milk or sugar cane juice to the maximum capacity. The emetic drug will be mixed with honey and salt. What is the purpose of this Utklesha diet? Our idea is to excite the kapha dosha. We have to minimize the anticipated discomfort and make the vomiting as effortless as possible. Vomiting is a very uncomfortable phenomenon because it is a reverse peristaltic movement. Now, this is a very interesting situation. Sushruta says, Dalhana in his commentary on Sushruta says that samashana, that is mixing of patyam and apatyam, is therapeutically indicated in this particular condition. Samashanam is otherwise deliberately discouraged. It is encouraged because this has got a therapeutic indication of Utklesha. Kapha should neither become dry solid. The idea is that the liquidity of the humor of the dosha, which has been obtained by snehana and swedana, has to be maintained, and we should be able to mobilize the dosha from shakha to the koshka effortlessly. The secretory diet compensates the degree of utklesha, which might have decreased during a gap time. If we increase the gap or resting day gap, the utklesha will automatically reduce. We will see the stage of dosha. The Leena dosha. It is situated deep in the dhatu, adherent to the sodas. Baddha dosha. Baddham apravartamanam dosha. Sama dosha. Ama idi apakwa dosha. Now, we are talking in this particular condition about anavattha dosham. Anavattha dosham, mukta srodo bandhanatvat, prachalita dosham, kosha detached from the dhatu, but is not moving towards the kosha. So, by virtue of this utklesha diet, it will become utklishta dosha. That is dosha already ready to come out to the orifice. Now, pariharya vishaya. Diet and regimen, the behavioral regimen to be observed before, during, and after Panchakarma. The Parihara Kala, that is the restrictions to be followed for a period equivalent to the days of therapy. In Basti, there is a difference because this period will be twice the period required for the therapy. The diet restrictions will include avoidance of Viruddha Bhojana, early eating during Ajirna, meal at wrong period, Apatya, Pramida, Vishama Bhojana, excessive or less diet, and heavy diet. Water intake is very important. Boiled water, never cool, no, never cold water, and also water we should not drink water which is boiled and cooled and kept at, overnight. That causes tridosha koma. So here water boiled with cumin, dhanyaka, and dry ginger for dissipation of vada, pitta, kapha respectively. Avoid loud speech, sitting in one position, or continuous walking. The exposure to excessive cold, dew, wind, and heat has to be discouraged. Embarking upon long journeys, keeping awake at night, sleeping during the day, suppression and provocation of Vegas, all these are not desirable. In short, avoid Ashtamahadosha Garabhava. Now, Samsarjana Krama is a very important part, which is a sequential graduated diet in Paschat Karma of Vamana, Virejana, Raktamosha, Shamana, Snehapana. The resultant Mandagini. After the procedures, there will be a resultant or consequent Mandagini, which has a tendency to hamper the metabolism. So, Samsarjana aims to stimulate the Agni by lighter diet in the beginning and then gradually embarks to bring the Agni to normalcy. Samsarjana is a transitional diet pattern which tries to enhance the body's strength in a graded fashion. We can see this whenever we have this transition phases, we can see in our fundamental concept. For example, in Ritu Sandhi, we have got such a transition that we do not directly transit to a change. It is always done in a graded fashion. Samsarjana is Sama plus Sarjana, that is Samyak Sarjana, defined as eliminating the dosha shesha after shodhana or creating or increasing the agni in a very graduated, proper way. Now, as a result of vigorous shodhana, there is a chance of weakness, loss of weight, depleted agni, and emptiness of yashaya. Conjugated expulsion of kapha, pitta, vada, and mala will render a person intolerable to other treatment forms and diet. So, some sarjana has to be planned. Now, Samsarjana is also ideal for people who are on dietetic restrictions, who are undernourished, grief-stricken, under mental stress, etc. So it is actually a very sober diet pattern. So the Pravara Shuddhi, Madhyama Shuddhi, and Avara Shuddhi. Pravara Shuddhi person can be given 7 days, 12 Annakala, Madhyama Shuddhi 5 days, 8 Annakala, Avara Shuddhi 3 days, and 4 Annakala. Pravara Shuddhi, the normal food is started at the end of the 7th day, Madhyama Shuddhi 5th day, and Avara Shuddhi at the end of the 3rd day. The type of this thing, Samsarjana is Peyadi and Tarpanadi. Components are Peya, Vilebi, Yusha, and Mamsarasa. There are many difference in opinion regarding the authors and practices, but this is a ground rule. So this is the one that we are practicing in Kottakkal also. I will try to give at the end of the session a practical protocol. This is from the thesis done by Dr. Renu under the guidance of Dr. Subin of Panchakarma. Yeah. So we see that the Pravara, Madhyama, and Avara Shuddhi persons will have a graded exposure to all the forms of the food. So coming to Peya, first component of Samsarjana Karma, more liquid portion and less solid portion. It is with 14 types of water and made thin in consistency. Lakhu, Deepana, Vata Anulomana, and Dhatu Pushtikara. The Deepana property increases Agni, and the raw materials is Raktashali, both in Peya and Vilepi. Here, it is owing to the predominant Agni and Vayu Mahabhuta that there is an increase of Agni. Vilebi is a second component. It is cooked by adding rice with 4 times of water, and there is a thicker consistency. Actually, the materials are the same. It is the amount of water and how the consistency that matters. Properties are Madhura, Lekhu, Deepana, Rojana, Grahi, Balavarthana, and Tarpana. Due to the Balavarthana and Tarpana property, it gives strength to the person. Energy depleted, or the energy depletion is actually taken care in this particular phase. The Swadhu Rasa will help in Brahmana. Yusha is the third component. It is prepared by Chimbi Dhanya, preparing one part of grain 18 times of water, enhances taste perception. It is an appetizer, nourishes all tissues, improves strength, and helps in proper digestion and metabolism. It is again classified into Krita and Akarta based on the supplements such as salt and Sneha. If there is salt and Sneha, it becomes Krita. Without it, it becomes Akarta. After Shodhana, first we will give the Akrita Yusha without salt and Sneha. Then once Agni gets stimulated, starts becoming stimulated, we can give Krita Yusha. And Mudga Yusha, owing to the protein content, and since it is best among the Shimbidanya, is the choice. Mamsa Rasa, there's a liquid obtained by boiling meat in water, and that is a little bit of a problem is if there are non-vegetarian and vegetarian group. The non-vegetarian has got an upper hand in this particular condition. Now here again we can have with spice and without spice. Here it is prepared by boiling the mamsa in 16 times of water and reducing to 1/4. Due to the drava samanya, the mamsa dhatu gets enhanced due to the intake of mamsa, and the commonly used is goat mamsa. Diet predominant of carbohydrate, protein, and fat. This is the way of replenishing. Beginning state, the digestion is very weak and the strength of the patient is also retarded. So a diet prominent in carbohydrate is reduced because it is simple in digestion, and carbohydrate metabolism yields glucose, which is the most efficient source of energy and absorbed quickly. Now, protein, which is rather a large complex molecule and undergo a series of process for digestion and absorption, is introduced only after the carbohydrate. And after the Agni is completely ignited, fat is introduced, which is the ultimate source of energy. So this is the pattern: carbohydrate, protein, and fat. When we had conversed with doctors practicing outside, I mean towards the north, we find that there is the use of fruit juice, then milk and dal. So the idea is fruit juice would provide carbohydrate, dal would provide the protein part, and milk is considered as the fat part there. Tarpanadikrama, here it is less used. Patients with increased kapha and pitta have to be given. Kapha pitta are eliminated in smaller quantity during the samshodhana. In such conditions, we have to use. We have had a study in alcoholic patients with Tarpanadikrama. The patients having Vata Pitta Prakriti. These are the indications for Tarpanadikrama. Peyadikrama is mostly used in our place. Now coming to the next platform of Virejana, the diet previous to the day of Virejana. Here the light food is given in the afternoon, forenoon, followed by sour fruit juices and warm water. If a person with Mrudukoshta, then even milk can induce purgation. Now, for Mrudukoshta people, food items such as Guda, Ikshu, Sarpi, and Taruna Madhya can also act as Virejana Dravya. Now, suppose a person is weak and has a great amount of increased dosha and develops purgation on its own. So he does not need a purgative drug. He has to be treated with food items which are laxative. If the bouts of purgations are not commencing, then he has to bring hot water and the abdomen has to be fermented. So these are the places where food and drinks come into play. On the day of consuming purgation, suppose the patient has a weak digestion strength, has a coating feeling, and the digestion symptoms are not of the previous food is not to be seen, then he should fast. Because by fasting, the discomfort caused by obstruction of dosha, aggravated by sudation and snehana, will not appear. What if we give the Virejana? We give the Virejana drug on empty stomach. What if the Virejana drug is given after having the meal? It will cause utklesha and the patient will do vamana, not Virejana. Now, peya should not be given when only little quantity of pitta and kapha is expelled out and a person is addicted to wine and vada pitta is predominant. We said that the remedial regimen is tarpana. It is a nourishing therapy where instead of rice, parched paddy is boiled and given. So this is actually a very good source of glucose and it is lighter than peya. Now coming to Anuvasana Vasti. Here, Lakhu Bhojana with na ati sneha, na ati ruksha and ushna guna is required. Now, Anuvasana has to be given after meal. When the patient is having adra pani, that is wet hands just after the meal. That is appropriate time of doing Anuvasana Vasti. If it is done on empty stomach, what will happen? The sneha will move upward due to the non-obstructed pathway. Sneha by Sara and Sushma Guna will quickly move upward. Because Sneha does not stay in the Pakvashaya, so it does not have a Vadanasha Kriya, but the Agninasha occurs because a large quantity of Sneha is covering upon the Agni. Now, if a person has a good digestive capacity, if the Sneha given comes out after stipulated time, give light food in the evening. If it does not come out due to severe dryness inside and does not produce any trouble such as weakness and malaise, forget it. Allow to remain inside for night. The next morning, give a drink warm water processed with ginger or coriander, or even warm water should be given. Matravasti. The diet before Matravasti, that is Yusha, milk, Mamsarasa, suitable to the patient in a quantity that is less quantity, is 1/4 of the routine diet. If there is Atisnigdada in the food given prior to Matravasti, it will cause Mata and Morcha. If the food is very Ruksha, it will cause decreased Bala and Varna. Avoid ajirna and day sleep once the patient is subjected to Matravasti. Matravasti can be done every day, so people may not take it very seriously. Now, Asthavana. After the appearance of desired symptoms, patient should take bath with warm water, eat rice meal along with juice of animals of desert like land. Now, in our practice, we usually ask people to take food with curry and fish, or fish is preferred more than meat. Complication of decoction anemia caused by the dislodged mala will subside with warm water and bath. You have to give the patient immediately after the Kashaya Vasti. The normal protocol of our guidelines, that is to sit calmly, to have the food, these things can be taken aside for some time because the patient will have vega in between. He can leave it, go have. After the Kashaya Vasthi, the patient will take a warm water bath, consume the food immediately. In between, he will have a vega, he is allowed to go. So it is a fast process which has to be done. The food has to reach the stomach immediately after the Vasti. Now, Niruha, if given, it is given after Niruhavasti, we are giving milk. Suppose Niruhavasti is given after milk, what will happen? This will cause Sambana of Mala and Anna, it will lead to Alasada. This will cause dosha aggravation, it's a severe situation causing Vishujika and Chapati. In cases of iatrogenic cases, when we do Vasti, that is improper tying of the Vasti Andra, pushing the total drug, quickly administering the Vasti Dravya, etc. One of the remedial measure is, of course, Abhyanga and Swedana plus Vadahara diet. In the Nasya Parihara Gala, the person has to be maintained in a windless space, light meal and lukewarm water, avoiding excess of fatty liquid diet, avoiding cold water for drinking and bathing, etc. Now, what will happen if you do Nasya once a person has taken meal? It will lead to Swasa and Kasa Chapati because Urthavahi Srodha. Dosha will go to the causing Swasa and Kasa. If the patient has taken Sneha or Matsya, then Mukhanasa Slava. If the patient is hungry and then you do the Nasya, becomes Vadakoka. If the patient is thirsty and you do Nasya, there is increase in Vriddhi, Krishna Vriddhi. In case of Rakta Moksha, foods which are neither very hot, very cold, and which are very light should be given because after the bloodletting procedure, the body is actually unstable with a low digestive capacity. So, food items which will kindle the digestion but will not aggravate, like spicy food, pungent food, avoiding day sleep as well. Now, I present to you the Department of Panchakarma BPSC Ayurveda College, Kottakkal. The courtesy is to them. They have schedule. I have extracted the food part from that. The standard operative procedure. In the patient education, time of conception of food, kind of food and drink with respect to procedure is explained. Food conception prior to each procedure is well explained. We make sure that they also understood what they have been told. Advice should be given to the patient has to restrict from any solid food 3 hours prior to treatment. In the vitals of Panchakarma, digestion of the previous food should be ascertained before the final call for the procedure. Patient's previous meal should have been digested well before the treatment. Patya and apatya, food, drinks, and regimens during Panchakarma are that which have been mentioned in Snehaviti. Gruel prepared with broken rice and wheat. Gruel prepared with broken rice, wheat, and green gram. Oats meal with diluted milk. Cooked banana. Boiled water with shunthi, jiraga, and dhanyaga. What a warm supernatant of portion of the gruel. Thin soup of green gram. Milk diluted with equal boiled water. Now, Vamana. Kapha Utklesha diet is given on the day prior to Vamana. With we got our indigenously available idli vada prepared with black gram, curd rice, lassi, milk porridge prepared with black gram, payasam, fish curry, milk peda, jalebi, etc. On the day of Vamana, porridge prepared with rice powder is added with little ghee. For Vijayachana, on the prior day, we have a special rasam which is actually prepared in Panchakarma. The Panchakarma department teaches their patients. The diet on the day prior to Vijayachana, special rasam, sambar. There is lemon rice, tamarind rice. Because when we have people who are accustomed to lemon rice and tamarind rice, we ask them to do that. Then orange pineapple juice at night. The special rasam ingredients are sarshaba taila 5 ml, garlic 4 to 5 pieces, pepper powder 3 grams. The tamarind is kept in water for 15 minutes and the juice is taken. And mustard seeds, coriander powder, hingu 3 grams. Of course, there is curry leaves. So take a pan, put the oil and season with mustard. Put the grounded garlic, coriander powder, pepper powder, and hingu. Fry it for 3 to 4, saute it out for 3 to 4 minutes. Pour the tamarind juice, put the curry leaves, and cook it for 5 to 7 minutes. This is given on the day previous of Virechana Karma. Now, for the Peyadi Karma, we are giving a Uttama Shuddhi protocol. For Annakala 1, 2, and 3, thin rice gruel with less amount of rice. Annakala 4, 5, and 6, thick gruel with less watery part. 7, 8, and 9, rice or idiyappam. Idiyappam is one with that is it is made up of rice flour, but it is steamed. Idli and dal curry, green salad, and with oil and without oil. Consequent on 7th and 8th day. Annakala 10, 11, and 12, rice, chapati, ghee rice, ghee soup, curry, buttermilk. Buttermilk preparations are always preferred to. In case of Madhyama Shuddhi, the diet will be the same, but it will repeat it for two Annakala each. And for our Shuddhi person, he will receive one Annakala of each diet. Now, for Kashaya Vasti, usually we ask to have idiyappam. Bread is a second option actually. After Vasti, rice with green gram curry, meat soup, moong dal, buttermilk, as per. But in Trivandrum Ayurveda College, we used to insist upon fish curries for non-vegetarians actually. Not fish fry, fish curry. Then food, easily digestible and less than the normal quantities advised after the hot water bath. The point is the food should be taken after the bath immediately. Gruel prepared with broken rice and wheat. Gruel prepared with broken rice, wheat, and green gram later. Oatmeal and diluted milk. Cooked banana and rice with curry prepared with buttermilk, vegetables, kushpanda. So that is for the later part of the day. But just after the therapy, rice is given. Vegetables such as cucumber, ascot, pumpkin, pepper, ginger can be used instead of red chili. Even in the green chili, it's a good practice to remove the seeds of it. Use gooseberry and lemon instead of tamarind, and use rock salt instead of curry salt. So we have certain research scopes in this. It's very interesting because this is a topic which we do not actually explore much into. I had a conversation, an in-depth interview with many number of people. There is a wide range of difference in understanding of diet for Panchakarma. It is very indigenously associated. So these are some of the topics which I think many research scholars could actually think about. Research influence and food with Snehavasti, how food alters the pH, alters the gastric emptying, stimulating the secretion, what is the impact of viscosity of food on all the Panchakarma procedures, the food drug reaction, because it is happening almost simultaneously. Then prevalence of Panchakarma practices and dietic practices in different populations. As I said that when we talk to people of the northern part of India, of course, rice is not satya, and the Samsarjana Kriya is very different from what we follow, but the ground rules are almost the same. Then we can also have studies at a bio perspective at a cellular level, and we can also have studies at a social perspective or a public perspective. For example, cohorts with biomarkers, patient perceptions and compliance regarding Panchakarma therapies with special reference to diet also. Then there is a global variation in dietic practices for Panchakarma. So I think these are some of the topics which could be very interesting for both, all departments, but especially for Swastavarta and Panchakarma PTs. I think a lot more can be pumped in. And yes, very indebted to Dr. Subin VR. He's the professor at Department of Panchakarma, Technical College Kottakkal, and Dr. Vidya Unnikrishnan. She belongs to the Ravigana Department of Kottakkal College. Then Dr. Devi and Anakha are they are Panchakarma. They have passed out their scholars, and the others, Dr. Liti, Dr. Vani, Dr. Shahnaz, Dr. Abha, Dr. Amrita. I'm very grateful to all of them. This has been a combined effort of collection and contribution. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen.